LOL at me saying this was going to be the easiest. This blend is gonna be the death of me. I'm gonna crash out. No. Favorite herb? Oh my gosh, I could drink that all day. I feel really good about this formula. Hello, happy summer. Welcome back to Mind Body Mel. New here, I'm Dr. Mel, a licensed naturopathic doctor. I specialize in anxiety, burnout, holistic mental health treatments. I also have an herbal products business called Mind Body Herbals, and that's what I'm gonna be taking you behind the scenes of today. If any of that sounds good, make sure you hit the subscribe button. This week, the summer tea finally launched. I've been trying to work on this blend for 2 years now, and it's finally out in the world. I'm so excited. So this vlog, I'm gonna take you through the entire process from start to finish, from researching ingredients and trying to figure out what I want in the blend, to test round after test round of trying different formulas, to finally getting the labels and putting the whole thing together. So if you've ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes of creating an herbal product, I really think you're gonna enjoy this one. I'll have the link for the summer blend below in the description. But for now, grab yourself a cup of tea, get cozy, and enjoy watching me struggle getting this blend together. The very first phase of creating any new product, any new blend for Mind Body Herbals is always the research phase. This is Mind Body Herbals HQ. This is my Notion dashboard. So we're gonna go into blend creation, and I'm gonna have to blur some of this out. Don't look. But something's coming down the road. This is the summer blend. So the first thing that I do when I'm coming up with a new blend is just create a mood board. I go onto Pinterest to start getting inspired about things. The vibe of the summer blend is sipping a delicious, refreshing iced beverage on a hot day by the pool. So I think you can understand what we're going for from that. But I just love all these images, the pinks and the oranges, whether that's what I use in the marketing shoot or just helps me to get inspired about the blend. Refreshing, cooling is really what we're going for here. I've already really identified that I want it to be a hibiscus tea. Hibiscus just tastes so good iced. I feel like it's such a summery herb. I don't really have anything that's more on the fruity side in my tea lineup. I've got a lot of earthy teas. I've got a lot of teas with ginger in them. I've got the citrus now with the spring, so this will kind of round out the flavor profile of the collection. Obviously, I'm always way more concerned about the medicinal value, but when I'm at markets, people are looking for a specific taste usually, so this will be a nice thing to offer as part of the product lineup. Also in the beginning, I really am thinking about how I'm going to market this, so I always just pull out a couple of emojis that I could use in social media posts. It really helps me to be able to think about it all at once, to be thinking about the ingredients, how I'm going to market it, what the labels are going to look like. I like to see the whole package together. Anytime that I'm creating an herbal product, all the herbal products that you see on the market really are going to have key actions that they're looking to accomplish with their herbs. So for the summer blend, I want it to be cooling. I want it to be demulcent, which is, I hate the M word, but moistening, hydrating. So those are going to be the actions that I'm looking for from either every herb or that the blend as a whole is accomplishing that. I might have some herbs that are more neutral. I'm going to avoid any heating or warming herbs such as ginger. That is just not a summer herb because we want to keep things nice and cool. But as a whole, I want the blend to lean more in this direction. I use a lot of traditional Chinese medicine when I'm formulating. In Chinese medicine, summer is the time of yang energy, that really active energy. It's playful, it's a lot of connection. I do a seasonal video on YouTube for each season, and I go into more of the Chinese medicine aspects of the season. So I did one for summer. I'll link that here if you want to watch that too. So I'm not going to go into that a ton, but just to give you an idea of what summer is like. It's bold, it's a lot of energy, it's the emotion of joy and delight. So I'm really going to lean into that with the flavors of this blend. Too much fire element is the most susceptible to burning out and burning hot, so it's really easy to get out of balance. So that's something that I'm considering with this blend, is making sure that it's hydrating, making sure that we also have nervous system support in this. So this is just a big research phase for me of going through all my notes, all of my knowledge on traditional Chinese medicine and the summer season. And then I will do an herb brainstorm. So first I just start by listing everything that I think I want in the blend. So I right off the bat know that I want this to be a cold infusion. All of my other blends are regular infusions where you're using hot water to extract the compounds in the herbs, or they're a decoction where you're boiling it on the stove essentially. A cold infusion is using cold water and letting it sit for a few hours. So it's a different method, and for some of the herbs that are a little bit more delicate, this is a better way of extracting their medicinal properties. If you use heat, it can actually damage. So I'm thinking of things like nettles, alfalfa, and oat straw. Those are really delicate, mineral-rich herbs. If you're extracting them with hot water, you're not going to get the minerals. because there's so much sweating and heat involved in summer, I really want to focus on getting those electrolytes and those minerals in this tea. To be able to actually extract them, we have to extract them in the right method, which is a cold infusion. I do know that a lot of people probably won't prepare it that way. They're used to preparing tea with hot water when they want to drink it. The problem with cold infusion is it does take a couple of hours. However, I really want to honor the herbs for this blend, honor the actions that I'm looking for. So I'm going to do a cold infusion, knowing that some people won't drink it that way, and that's okay. I already talked about hibiscus. I definitely want that to be the main taste of this blend. And then obviously, I'm going to throw in holy basil Tulsi tea. If you've never watched a video on my channel, you might not know about my love affair with Tulsi tea. It is my favorite herb of all time. I just think it's incredible. But actually, it's good because it's more of a cooling herb and it's really good for the nervous system. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for the nervous system support right now. Marshmallow root is a demulcent, like we talked about. It's an M word, moist. Rose hips, I think, would just be so lovely, like a hibiscus rose hip. Both powerhouses, really high in vitamin C. I just see this as such like a glowy tea. So I like the idea of including rose hips. And like I mentioned, nettles and alfalfa for the minerals. These are just some herbs that I'd like to try. Gotu kola does a million things. It's also cooling, also good for the nervous system, really good for the skin too. Motherwort is also really good for the skin as well. It's good for conditions with a lot of heat, which is what makes me think of it for summer. Also for anxiety, which can be high in the summer. It's a really bitter herb, so I'm just not quite sure about it yet. Orange peel, more so for taste than anything else. However, peels are going to be better extracted for decoction and not really cold infusion, so I'm not sure about that one. Spearmint, I don't know how I feel about hibiscus spearmint. I didn't want to use peppermint because it can be a little too holiday tasting almost. It probably would be really refreshing, but I just didn't want peppermint and hibiscus. Spearmint's a lot more mild, so I do think it's worth a try because mint is a very summery taste. Then I go through each of the herbs, especially the ones that I'm highly considering, and just write down why. So hibiscus, we already talked about, cooling, really high in vitamin C and anthocyanins, which are antioxidants. You can prepare it cold. It's got that tangy, mild, fruity taste we're looking for. I would really like to include lime in some way. However, the only lime that I can get from my suppliers is a lime peel powder. I have used powders before. In the autumn blend, there's Schisandra powder. It works. It just doesn't always fully mix. And the lime peel powder is extremely fine that I have. I actually did try to launch this blend last year and could not get this lime powder to work. I have it on the list. I'm not sure though if I'm going to be able to make it work, but hibiscus lime? Are you kidding me? That just sounds perfect to me. So we'll see about that. I've talked about Tulsi a million times, so I'm gonna skip that one. But it helps balance Pitta. Pitta is from Ayurvedic, that fiery energy, which can be aggravated in the summer. Marshmallow root, we talked about. I did consider, you're gonna see on this list, a lot of the herbs that I was considering. Raspberry leaf is astringent. I don't really want it to be astringent, so I nixed that one. I want it to be moistening. Gotu kola, orange peel, rose hips, spearmint, lavender, and rose were two that I think would sound amazing, like a hibiscus lavender, a hibiscus rose, but by doing it cold infusion, it'll come across too floral or too soapy, I believe. Maybe I'll try it, maybe I won't. Then we get to actually formulating. So now that I have all this information, I've thought about the herbal actions, I know the energetics that I'm looking for. The goal of this blend is really to be cooling, moistening, tart, and fruity. I want it to be really refreshing and ideally be that cold infusion. And it's meant to be drank iced, which will be different than my other blends. The spring blend, you can have it hot or iced. Same thing with autumn because those are more transition seasons, and then winter would be hot for sure. And then I will have a bunch of different versions of the tea. So under each of these, I have a space for the formula and then tasting notes. Obviously, I'm not gonna show you the actual formulas. I'll talk about the herbs, but I'm not gonna go into parts and everything. That's the recipe, which is a secret. But I will just write down some notes about what I thought. These are very casual notes. Sometimes I'm like, this is terrible. I'm gonna brainstorm the first 3 versions and I'll probably see you back for the taste test. So there's 5 main herbs that I wanna make sure that I'm using in this blend. The only thing that's gonna change with these herbs is how much I put into each of the formulas, the ratio of things. I do want hibiscus to be our lead herb. And this beautiful herb, oh my gosh, it's gonna have such a pretty pink color, this tea. I'm really excited about that, but I want it to be a nice fruity taste. That's gonna be really nice because I don't really have a tea that's fruity. And sometimes when I'm at markets, people ask me for a fruity tea and I have to be like, I've got spring is citrusy and that's only out in the spring. This will be out in the summer and it'll be just a nice addition to the line. Hibiscus is really cooling. It's called a demulcent, which means that I hate the M word, but it's moist and it's really high in vitamin C. Those bright pink colors are anthocyanins, which is an antioxidant, amazing for your body. Next of the core 5 is gotu kola. This is an incredible herb that truly does everything, but the reason that I'm including it in this blend specifically is because it clears heat. So really good for the summer, staying cool. It's also great for skin health, and we've also got the vitamin C going. So I just feel like this is gonna be such a glowy, hydrating formula. Nettles, really high in minerals. So in the summer, you're sweating a lot, you get dehydrated, you wanna replenish, not just with water, but also with minerals as well. Brewing by cold infusion, we're really gonna get all the medicinal value, all the minerals from the tea. Of course, I threw in my favorite herb, Tulsi, holy basil, also a cooling herb. It's an adaptogen. It's such a great herb if you tend to go a million miles a minute, burn yourself out. I just find it to be so comforting. And especially in the summertime, yes, we have more energy, we have more yang, but it can be really easy and all that excitement and all that energy to overschedule yourself and to be doing too many social things without enough of that balance with the yin. So I really want to include holy basil to support that when you're feeling like you've overdone it a little bit in the summer, you've had a little bit too much fun, a little too much excitement, holy basil kind of brings you back. And the last of the core 5, I don't have a jar for this one yet because I haven't formulated tea with this herb yet, is marshmallow root. And marshmallow root is one of those demulcents that we want to extract with cold infusion. So it has that moistening, hydrating effect. It calms all the tissues in the body. So making sure that everything's nice and hydrated. It is really good if you're familiar with Ayurvedic medicine for that pitta type. I have a lot of pitta, so I'm looking forward to having a tea that is very calming, very nourishing, and hydrating. So marshmallow root. That's the core 5 that are going to be in all of the versions. I'm just not quite sure yet about the parts. The only thing that I know is that hibiscus is going to be our lead. Whether that's the herb with the highest percentage, the most amount of plant matter in the blend, or it's just the main taste that comes through. Lead can fly either way, but that's our lead. Today I'm gonna taste test the first versions of the summer blend. I'm so excited. Basically for this first step, I'm just making a very small batch of the tea. I don't wanna make too big of a batch because odds are one of these is not gonna taste great and then I have to be the one to drink it or I end up throwing it out and I hate wasting herbs. So I make a very small batch. Today's really just about what is the general taste of it. This is gonna be very loose. We'll get very specific later on as far as amounts and just the preparation method. This is also good because most people aren't going to make it perfectly when they're at home. So we just want to make sure that the general taste is right. Like you saw, I always start with what are the actions of the herbs, what are the medicinal properties that I'm looking for in the blend. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't taste good, no one's going to drink it. So this step is really where we start playing with the different amounts of things. There's certain herbs that are going to be the core formula that are the medicinal properties that I'm looking for. But then I might add in some other herbs that are more for taste. I am always playing into the energetics of the tea. One thing I'm really looking for in the summer blend is I don't want it warming. I don't want really heating herbs. So something like ginger would taste really good in this blend, but ginger is a very warming herb. So I really like to use that more in winter, in the cooler months. So the herbs that I add as kind of our supportive herbs for more taste and the cohesiveness of the formula, I'm gonna be looking for ones that are more cooling or at least neutral. Every time I formulate, there's always some challenge, especially with the seasonal collection. I don't know why the elemental collection just felt so easy. It just kind of poured out. But the seasonal collection, for each of their own reasons, has been a challenge. For autumn, I had never worked with such potent herbs before. Some herbs that had really strong taste like clove and cinnamon and schisandra. These were all herbs that I really had to play with those ratios so it didn't feel like you were just having a mouthful of clove, which no one wants. And then for spring, I had a very clear idea of what I wanted it to taste like. More than anything, I wanted it to be this really fresh, citrusy, lemony taste. And it took me a long time. I think it took 11 different variations to nail that in a way that I really felt like that flavor profile came through, and we were still getting all the liver support, all the lymphatic support that I wanted for the spring blend. This blend has a very unique challenge, summer, because I want it to be a cold infusion, which is a different method of preparing the herbs. Almost all my other blends are a traditional infusion, so you're using hot water to extract the properties of the herbs. I would say to get the most medicinal benefits from autumn and winter, it should be prepared as a decoction, but you can also do it as an infusion. A decoction is where you're really boiling it over the stove, using more of that intense heat to extract the properties from the herbs. Cold infusion is challenging for formulating because it takes a lot of time. So for a cold infusion, you are putting the herbs in your jar, you're adding cold water, and then you're letting it sit for overnight 8 hours. This is a really great way of infusing herbs that are more sensitive to heat and can actually get damaged, so you might not be getting the full medicinal benefit. So things like marshmallow come to mind, where it's more of this really hydrating mucilaginous compound. You're not going to be able to get that from a hot infusion, so you would use cold infusion to get all those properties. Extracting minerals from herbs, cold infusion is also a great way to do that. They can get damaged with heat, so things like nettles, alfalfa, oat straw. If you really want the minerals from the herbs, you want to do a cold infusion. Plus, it's summertime, so most people aren't going to be drinking hot tea anyway, and I think it's really going to be fun to have a blend where you can prep the night before, stick it in your fridge, and have this really refreshing iced tea to drink all day long. So it works perfectly for the summer blend. However, formulating wise, that means I have to prep all these formulations and then wait 8 hours to be able to just taste test them, and they might not have been good, and it took all that time, but that's okay. That's part of the process. I just think that I'm glad I'm starting this a little bit earlier because I think it's going to take a little bit more time. I especially have to remember later today that I have to taste test this. We should probably get started. So the way that I formulate is in parts. This is a great way to be able to scale your recipe, whether you want to make one bag or to make a whole big batch. For doing the initial formulations, it's nice that I don't have to make a huge batch of it. Would like to use a 1/4 teaspoon as my one part. We might use a half, depending on how big some of the plant parts are. Sometimes the 1/4 teaspoon, it's just too small, and then you don't really end up getting an accurate taste. When I have more of an idea of what the final 2 formulas that I'm really considering, that's when I make a bigger batch to make sure that I'm getting enough of the plant in each serving. So these first 4 are essentially my best guess of what I think is going to taste good together with the lead herbs that I want to use, and then I go from there. But what I'm hoping for is that one of these tastes pretty close to what I want it to be, and then I can tweak from there. What I don't like to do is tweak too many variables at once. I don't want to be changing the parts of 4 of the herbs in the blend that I think I'm going to use. That'll be too confusing, which is impacting the taste the most. All of these 4 are going to be pretty different actually, and then I'm going to pick which one or which 2 are the closest, and from there I'm going to be changing 1, maybe 2, but I really prefer to only change 1 variable at a time. So the next round might be 4 that are very similar and there's just 1 change in each. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just get started with this. We'll see what we've got. Okay, so I just set up all the teas. I was just smelling them. It smells really fruity, which is what we're looking for. I thought I included more variety, but I really kept those core 5 at the same rates in each version, which is okay. We can always make adjustments next time. The herbs that I'm really playing with are alfalfa, orange peel, rose hips. And I forgot I did one with motherwort, which will be really lovely, but it can be a little bit bitter, so I'm not sure about it in a tea. Yeah, it's pretty strong tasting. I usually take this in a tincture, so not sure about a tea, but we're gonna try it. And I was gonna make a half batch of each, but I got carried away. So I hope I like it because I'm gonna be drinking this. I put about a tablespoon of the blend in each of the jars, and now I'm just gonna add filtered water to it. All the 4 are set up. They're looking stunning. Just gave them all a nice shake just to get all the herbs dispersed, and so we can start seeing some of that really pretty color. It's interesting, some of them have more rose hips than others, which will also impact the color. I can tell which ones have more because they're a little bit more pink, and the ones that don't are a little bit more purple from the hibiscus, which is just cool to see. What I usually expect from the first round is that they're all pretty bland tasting. That's usually what happens, is that there's just not enough flavor. I like the teas to be really flavorful, so you want to keep drinking it. So I'm just really curious about the hibiscus before I start making any crazy changes to the more flavorful herbs, because hibiscus is our lead herb and it's flavorful. So I don't want to get too overpowering with that. I really wanted to do a hibiscus rose or like a hibiscus lavender. I thought that would have been so delicious, especially iced. But when you're doing a cold infusion, those floral tastes can taste like absolute soap if you are infusing them for so long. And because a cold infusion is 8 hours, then it would have been disgusting. It really wouldn't have tasted good. But that can be something maybe I play with more, just so that I really get a feel, you know, if I put it in the smallest amount, would it still have that soapy taste to it? The other thing that I was playing with, this tea was actually supposed to come out last year. Obviously that didn't happen, mainly because I didn't give myself enough time to really play with the formula, and then it would have been rushed, especially because the seasonal blends all have kind of a natural launch date, which is the first day of the season. I didn't want to rush it, so I pushed it to this year. But my original idea was a hibiscus lime, which I love the idea of. That's like my ideal drink. And I was playing around with this lime powder, but the problem with powder when everything else is an herb is you need such a tiny amount of powder because it's so potent. It's, you know, that really ground up part of the citrus, so it's going to have a much stronger taste than some of the other herbs, and I just like could not figure out the right ratio with it. So I think with social media and kind of marketing, I'm going to say, you know, add a squeeze of lime to it if that ends up tasting good. We'll see. And I could still pull out the lime powder and see if I can make it work, because I do think that would be really yummy. But yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself per usual. We just got to test these first 4 blends. We'll go from there. For a cold infusion, you can leave it out on your counter in your kitchen, or you can put it in the fridge. I think I'm more likely to remember to taste test this in 8 hours if I keep it on my desk than putting it in the fridge. But ideally drinking it, how I see it going is you make it at night, you put it in the fridge, it's ready for you in the morning, and it's nice and cold and refreshing. It is, what time is it? 10:45. Which means I'll probably do it around the end of my workday, around 6, 7 kind of thing. And we'll go from there. Okay, see you later. Hey, so it's the end of the day. It's been over 8 hours. It's around 7 o'clock now. It's time to test everything. It's looking beautiful. Let me just give them all a little shake. One last time. And I'll show you what they're looking like. This is what we got. Definitely pinked up a little bit, that beautiful hibiscus color. So now I'm just gonna strain it and taste test them all. So I'm gonna strain each of these into here and then pour it back into the jar. An easier way to do this would be to use the little mesh tea balls. I just couldn't find 4 of them, so I went with this method where we're just gonna strain it. I also have a really great cold infuser bottle, and that's my favorite way to make it, but I know not everybody has that, and again, I didn't have 4 of them. I'm just gonna start with version 1. So I'm just gonna strain the herb. Okay, now that I have completely made a mess of my desk in my office, it's finally time to taste them. So I'm just gonna start in order. So the first version has our core 5. So that's the hibiscus, gotu kola, marshmallow root, holy basil, and nettles. And then all of them each have something a little bit extra added to them. This one has spearmint, rose hips, and alfalfa added. So that's what's different about this. Bottoms up. So the first thing, I'm smelling it. Honestly, they all smell amazing. They smell like hibiscus tulsi, like hibiscus holy basil, and that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, I'm getting the spearmint. It's nice. It's a very subtle. I was a little worried how those 2 flavors were going to taste together. It's really sweet. Not like sugary sweet, but just like the nice fruitiness of the hibiscus. I want to keep drinking it, so that's a good sign. I think this would be really good over ice and cold. Like, I definitely want to put this in the fridge tonight and try it again tomorrow if I don't finish it. I definitely like the spearmint hibiscus more than I thought I was going to. So we're gonna keep that in the rotation. Trying number 2, I'm gonna cleanse the palate with just some water first. Okay, number 2. Smells a little bit different. Let me remember what was different about this one. Okay, so this was the motherwort, alfalfa, and rose hips. That's what is different about this. Same base as the other one. This one I was nervous that it's gonna be too bitter with the motherwort, so let's see. It's okay. It kind of falls flat, like it feels very one note, where the other one, I think that one had spearmint. So this one, yeah, this one doesn't have spearmint. I definitely think the hibiscus rose hips gives it that fruity flavor, but that's really all you're getting. And I like that the other one was a little bit more dimensional. Palette cleanse. On to 3. Okay, so this one has a lot different. This one has orange peel, except, okay, this one was supposed to have orange peel in it, but I only put it in version 4. That's okay because this one had a lot of variables that would have been different. So this again is alfalfa, rose hips, and spearmint. Okay, so this is actually the same as version 1. I was supposed to put orange peel in and I did not. So they're the exact same. So we'll see if I enjoy this one the same amount as the first one. It's delicious, so that's good. It's a good sign that I like it again. You win some, you lose some. Okay, and for version 4, the only thing that's different about this is it has spearmint added, but no rose hips. So it's just the core 5 plus spearmint. So interesting. It's definitely more tart than version 1 and 3 because I feel like the rose hips really do add to it and give it that much more full body taste, that fruity sweet. Wait, but I think I put orange peel in here. I did. Okay, so this one's orange peel and spearmint. Wow, I messed this up. See, this is the problem with filming this while I'm doing it. It's hard to do 2 things at once. Okay, so that was orange peel, which makes a lot of sense why I was tasting more tart because orange is gonna add a little bit more bitter and a little bit more of that citrusy, tart flavor to it. I'm not sure how I feel about it. The other thing with adding orange peel is that it's not really going to extract any medicinal value from the orange peel. It might add the flavor to it, but cold infusion, it really needs a decoction to fully extract all the properties from it. That would just be for taste, and I am feeling like I like the spearmint taste more than I was anticipating, so that's cool. I'm gonna go back to one. I feel like this is a really solid base. Like, actually, I don't think it's going to take as many versions as it did for autumn or spring to really nail this one. The next thing I want to experiment with is increasing the spearmint. I started with a very small amount and I want to find the point where it becomes too much. I definitely think rose hips belongs in the formula, so we can kind of add that to those 5, now making it 6 that will stay consistent throughout. I also want to experiment doing one increasing the hibiscus a little bit more. And I do like having the alfalfa in it. I feel like nettles and alfalfa, it's really going to up that mineral content. I'm nixing motherwort. I didn't like what that added to it. Nixing orange peel. I didn't put any oat straw in these. That would be another really rich mineral source. So we could try that next time. And I'm going to write down all these tasting notes, and then I'm going to be changing one variable at a time for the next formulas. So usually I only do 3 at a time actually, which is funny that number 3 didn't end up working out, or it was the same thing, because that's kind of where my palate taps out on being able to really taste the difference is 3 at a time. So I'll come up with the next 3, and again, we have to wait those 8 hours. So this process is involved, and that's why we're starting a little bit early this time. So I'm gonna see you guys back for the next taste test. Welcome back. I am getting ready to test the next round of formulations for the summer blend, so I want to show you. I did mix all the herbs already because last time I couldn't do 2 things at once, so this was better, but I'll show you exactly what I did. I found all of my little, these are called tea ball infusers, so I'm gonna load up a tablespoon of the herb and then put that in the jar, pour the water on top for our cold infusion. It's gonna make it so much easier to clean up. I'm gonna test 3 versions today. This is gonna be version 5. It has alfalfa, spearmint, and rose hips. Basically, I'm just altering the ratio of each of the herbs. So this one's gonna have less spearmint and more hibiscus in it. You can see, I just love the way this is looking with the hibiscus and the rose hips in it. And then the last one, I'm adding in oat straw, which I have a feeling is going to make it into the blend. I'm not really sure why I didn't add it in the first formulations. It's so high in minerals. It's really great as a cold infusion, along with the alfalfa. Both of these are really high in minerals. I'm thinking that's gonna end up in the blend too. I took the same core formula that we had tested last time. That's the hibiscus, the tulsi, gotu kola, marshmallow, and nettles. So those are in all 3 of these versions. And then the things that I changed or alternated is kind of what I wrote on the post-it note and what I explained earlier. So that's what's going to make it different for each variation. But I'm feeling really good about this blend. I'm hoping that this is going to be it, and I'll have a really good idea of what the final formulation is. After that, I will do more testing by weight, so actually measuring out each of the herbs so I know the weight of a full bag, so one bag that somebody would be purchasing. And I want to make sure that I'm testing out a cold infusion in the fridge. Basically, I want to try out all the different ways that someone who purchases this might use it so that I know and can instruct on best instructions and help with any troubleshooting as that comes up with customers. So I'm gonna let this sit for at least 8 hours, come back tonight, and hopefully we've got our summer blend. Okay, it's really late. I took out the herbs in time, but I'm just getting around to tasting it now. I wanted to do it with you. Version 5. Oh, it's delightful. That's really delicious. One had the alfalfa, spearmint, and rose hip. I really want to put these in the fridge overnight and try them again because I want to see what they taste like really cold. Okay, this one's version 6. This one had more hibiscus and less spearmint, along with the alfalfa and the rose hip. Okay, definitely more tart. Oh, I kind of like that too. I think the other one is a little bit more well balanced because of the spearmint, because this one has less spearmint in it. I am wondering though if once it's iced in the fridge and if I have it over ice, if I'm going to prefer the really tart, more flavorful blend. Okay, and then this last one, version 7, I added an oat straw. Now, I wouldn't mind trying oat straw in another formulation, but this one tastes really weak, and I'm not sure if it's because I just had it after the hibiscus, that the one that had more hibiscus in it that's really tart. Yeah, something about this is just really not working for me. So I think I want to try version 5 with oat straw. But I'm going to put these all in the fridge overnight and see if it changes the taste at all. We'll be back. I'm crashing out a little bit, but it's going to be okay. I put the teas in overnight. I didn't show you this because it ended up being kind of late. But I put the teas in the fridge overnight to get them nice and cold, and I tried them again, and I didn't like the tea that I previously liked as much. I liked the one that was a little bit more tart. I think it was version 6, so it had more hibiscus, less spearmint, rose hips, alfalfa, and I said it wasn't as balanced as version 5, which didn't have as much hibiscus in it. But then when I iced it, this flavor just really didn't come through as strongly as version 6 did. I think I need to make it a much stronger flavor. Like if I think about making an iced coffee, I want a really strong espresso, because iced things, you just need that stronger flavor for it to come through. So I think the same thing is true for this tea. I think I need to make a very strong, like if I want it to be hibiscus rosehip, make it that tart flavor. It's not going to be as tart if you just brew it as it will be if you ice it, because the whole idea of this is that it's an iced tea. So I think I'm going to test version 7 again because I still have the herbs anyway. And the next couple of versions I'm going to keep the same level of hibiscus. I'm going to up the rose hips on one of them just to see what that tastes like. And then I did want to add oat straw to all of them. 1, because oat is just such a beautiful sweet flavor to it. 2, it's really high in minerals. And if I'm doing an infusion, I'm actually surprised I didn't include it in the original formula to begin with. So that's what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna set them up and I'll show you. Okay, so I've got everything set up. I used filtered cold water from the fridge, so it will be a true cold infusion. I'm going to try it in 8 hours, strain out the herbs, try it as is, and then I'm also going to try it over ice. So we'll see how that impacts the taste profile. I'm feeling optimistic. LOL at me saying this was going to be the easiest one and I was going to have this completed with the last versions, but yep, that's about right. I'm taking my tripod failing as a sign that we're gonna end off this one, but I will see you in a few hours to taste this. Time to try this next batch of iced. I have version 6, version 8, and version 9. That's the ones we're gonna taste test right now. I'm gonna try them, so they've been iced in the fridge overnight, and then I'm going to try them by adding in some ice too, just to see if that changes the flavor at all. Version 6, if you remember, this one we tried last time, and I just added it again as a control. This was the one I liked the best out of the last bunch of 3 that we did. This one has a little bit of the higher hibiscus and less of the spearmint. It's good. You still do get the spearmint. It's just very delicate, which I like. This is definitely a very balanced, fruity, a little bit tart blend. It's lovely. It's great. Now we have version 8. So this also has the same level of hibiscus, but I increased the rose hips and the spearmint on this one. And I added in oat straw. This just tastes so hydrating. I don't know how else to say it. It's a little fruity, it's a little minty. What I'm feeling is that all of these would just really benefit from a squeeze of lime. That's probably how I'll drink it. It is making me think if I want to try again and bring out the lime powder. It's hard when you're doing herbs and powders. I've just found that to be difficult in tea. The powder ends up, even when you brew it, just collecting at the bottom of your teacup. Let's taste version 9. This one had same amount of hibiscus, even more rose hips than the last one. Less of the alfalfa and marshmallow. I'm suspecting this to be a much fruitier taste. Yeah. This is pure hibiscus tea is basically what it tastes like hibiscus rosehip, which is nice. It definitely tastes really yummy. I just really want more of a medicinal benefit from it. I want to have those mineral rich herbs being stronger. I'm glad I tried this as kind of the extreme end of the hibiscus. Basically, this tells me this is the absolute max ratio of the hibiscus and rose hips. I wouldn't want to go any higher than this, and I would want to take the rose hips down. I do think version 8 is now our top contender. I do think I'm gonna do a couple more rounds. I really wanna just try the lime. That's really the biggest thing. So I think if I try this, try another one with a small amount of lime and then a little bit more lime. I think that's gonna be versions 10 and 11. Damn it, I really thought I was gonna get this in less versions, but I'm just playing. Let's try it over ice. I let them sit for a bit just so they're nice and chilled. They're already pretty chilled after being in the fridge, but I always find that it tastes a little bit different over ice. It gets harder as you get farther along because I'm like, yeah, this is really good. I would drink this all summer. I don't know what it is, but this one, I want to like take big gulps of it. Like, it's just so hydrating, which is probably a good sign. Oh my gosh, I could drink that all day. Last one. Wow, that tastes like so fruity and tart over ice. See, now I'm like, oh, that is kind of nice over ice. New plan. I'm gonna keep both of these in contention and add the lime powder to both. Because this one, the flavor is a lot stronger. But I really like the mineral content in this one. Okay, I will try. You guys are watching me like crash out live. The same ratio of hibiscus and rosehip, but keeping the mineral rich herbs at this ratio. That'll be one formulation. We'll do this one again with lime. I have enough herbs, so I'll test this one the same again. Then I'll do one with the lime powder with the ratios of rosehip and hibiscus. Yeah, and then one just adding lime powder to this one. I think that's a good plan. Okay. This blend has turned out to be so freaking challenging, mainly because it just takes so much time. Like normally I could be testing each of these variations. Like I could do this all in one day, figure out the formula. It would be better if I was testing more at once. I just find that with my palate, I really can't distinguish that many different blends. Like if I was to have 8 in front of me, I would be really confused. Like I like doing it this way because it helps me to revise and go based on taste, which formulas I want to test next. It's been complicated because I have to let it sit for 8 hours and that takes a lot of time. And then I want to have it iced overnight. I'm really hoping, I feel really good about version 8. Like I could definitely sell that one right now and I think it would do really well. I always want it to be perfect. And I personally know that I'm going to be drinking it with lime. So if I could make the lime powder work, I literally will never stop drinking this. And hopefully you too. Of course, this whole 8 hours to brew thing really throws a wrench into things. It just makes the process take a lot longer. So I'm gonna set up the next batch. I might set it up tonight because the whole idea is for it to be overnight anyway, which will be a little bit longer than 8 hours, just by the time that I go to bed and wake up in the morning. I'm gonna set that up tonight and then we'll be able to taste test it tomorrow. And then hopefully tomorrow we'll have a better idea of the blend. And then tomorrow, if I needed to retest, I could do another batch during the day. I've already had to push out the timeline of when this is being launched because it's just not ready yet, and that's okay. That's okay. I do like it to be on the first day of the season. Right now it's June 13th, so that's not happening because that's next week. But I'm hoping for mid-July. That would be great. And then I'll have it every year. It can launch then on the first day of summer. Yeah, we're figuring it out. Okay, see you tomorrow. I just pulled the next round out of the fridge, so we're gonna give it a try. This has the lime peel in it. I'm gonna start with version 8. This was our winner from the last round. I strained them and tasted them. I have thoughts, but I'm gonna try it now chilled because that changed the taste last time, and I put 2 ice cubes in each. Yeah, I mean, still delightful. Still would drink that. So we have 10 and 11. 10 has a little bit of lime peel, 11 has a little bit more lime peel. And this is the lime peel powder. definitely brighter, a little bit more tart, which I like. I don't know if it's too sour. A little sour. I don't know if I like that. I'm wondering if I mislabeled these because I feel like this tastes like it has less lime. There it is. I think it's too much. Okay, well, I tried it. I had a feeling that the powder was going to be a little bit too much. It's really difficult to mix teas that have loose leaf herbs and powder in it. I tried it. It didn't work. It's okay. This is where I got hung up last year. But I do really love this. I just will love it more with a squeeze of fresh lime juice. That's all I'm saying. In fact, let me see if I have any. Okay, I found a lime. I'm gonna put a little bit in version 8. I'll start with a little bit. I like a lot of citrus, but I feel like most people don't. Just put the whole half in. That's the way I like it. I like it really tart. But this tart tastes different than this tart. This is like zingy and fresh and bright. Like this is like sour. I'm not sure why. I don't really feel compelled to keep drinking this in the same way I do for this. Like this, with the sparkling water in it. No, it's perfect. It's hydrating, it's cooling. I like really want to drink it. It's so nutrient rich with all those minerals in it. It just feels very refreshing, especially because it's chilled. I'm so excited. This is so different than any of my other teas. I haven't had like a fruity tea, and a lot of people have asked for it, so it'll be nice to add this to the collection. I think my next step is gonna be testing version 8, making a bigger batch of version 8, testing it in a couple of different ways. So I'm going to do cold infusion, leaving it out on the counter, cold infusion in the fridge. I do want to try it with just hot tea because I do have a feeling some people will prepare it that way and just pour it over ice. You're not going to get the same medicinal content from it, but it'll still taste lovely. So I want to try it like that, but I'm feeling confident that this is the formula, which means that we can move on to the labels, which is always so much fun. And I do need to order those like now because they can take a while to come. That'll be next steps. Yay, I'm so excited. Version 8, it's my lucky number, so I should have known. Oh, it's so good with the lime. I'm trying version 8 today. This is our final version, hopefully, all things considered. I wanted to try it in a couple of different ways. So I did do one in the fridge overnight and then one sitting out on the counter overnight. This is one of my absolute favorite contraptions. It's great for making those infusions in the fridge. So you just put the herbs in, and there's actually a little filter in this, and you can pop the top and then pour it into your glass. So this is the one that I had chilled in the fridge, so it's nice and cold. So it strains the herb, which is just so nice. All right, so that's the one that was in the fridge. And then this is one that I left out on the counter, so it's warm. Again, I'm just trying different ways that I know people will prepare it. I can make sure that it tastes consistently good. So this one I will need to strain it. So give me a second to do that. So the one in the fridge is chilled already, so I didn't put it over ice this time. It's so good, so refreshing. I do think it needs a squeeze of lime, but that's okay. We tried the lime powder, it didn't work. I just see this with sparkling water and a squeeze of lime. It'll be perfect. Delicious. That's pretty much how I'm gonna be drinking it all summer, is putting it in this thing because it has this awesome filter. Let me see if I can show you. It has a filter on the bottom. Let's see. So it strains it for you. And then the one that I left out on the counter, great. They taste pretty similar. I do feel like this one has a stronger taste, which does make sense if you think about it. This one did have a little bit more heat. It is hotter here. This one was in a cold fridge infusing. I think the perk of it being in a cold fridge is, of course, it's like ready to drink. It's nice and cold and chilled. This one, if you want that stronger taste, but you will get the medicinal benefits from both ways that you infuse. It's really just a matter of preference. I feel really good about this formula, which is exciting, because now I can design the labels and I can order the labels, and that's always one of my favorite parts. I'm so excited to drink this all day now. I had made a whole batch of it, so I'm ready to go for samples. I have a ton of herb left from recipe development, and I usually use this. So this is all the blends that I didn't end up choosing, and I'll use this in the marketing shoot. So when I'm shooting the product, because it has same herbs as the final, then I don't have to waste any of my stock. I can use this and I'll like sprinkle it around on pictures, and it looks nice and it works out great. That makes me feel better because I hate wasting, so at least it has another use. All right, I think that's where I'm gonna wrap up. I cannot believe after all these weeks we finished formulating. I've been doing this forever. So this is really exciting to be able to move on to designing and then planning and executing the marketing shoot. I got the labels for the summer plan. I'm very excited. This is always one of the best parts. I feel like this is when it really just starts to all come together and it stops being this thing that just is in my brain and is this beautiful physical thing now. So I did already take a peek. I'm so thrilled with how they turned out. This is the summer label. I just love the beautiful hibiscus pink color. And this is the back of it. The little tagline is a tea blend for radiating from within. And then I always have 3 words on the back that kind of sum up the blend. So this one is replenish, glow, and vitality. I feel like that's really representative of vitamin C and really glowing, good for skin health, very hydrating herbs, the mineral rich herbs, just really that hydration that you're looking for in the summer. I'm really happy with how it's all turned out. I just think they look so cute. I'm so excited. I get these printed from Moo Print. I am looking for something that's a little bit cheaper, but I'm just always so impressed with the quality that I haven't changed it yet. I did order a much smaller batch of this than I normally do because I am anticipating with the Elemental collection, which is Earth, Water, Air, and Fire, that I'm going to be running out of those labels in the next year. So that would be a good time for me to switch over. Also, I did something a little bit impulsive. I was thinking that I would release the seasonal minis. If you don't know, do I have a set of them made? So right now I have a set of minis for the Elemental collection. I did this on a whim, honestly, when I was doing markets for Christmas, because people kept asking me for a smaller size or if I had like a variety pack. These, I could not keep them in stock. They just kept selling out, which was awesome. And I do think it's a great way to try all the blends and find your favorite, and then you can purchase the full size. So I was thinking for Christmas this year, I would release the seasonal collection minis, but I got a little excited and I was, you know what, I just want to have it now. And have both minis. Plus, if people try autumn and winter now, you can't get the full size on my site. So it's a nice way that they could try it, be like, ooh, I really want to get that when it comes out. I love having a limited release. The seasonal collection will never be available all year. I love the idea of it being seasonal. Something to look forward to. That tea blend really supports you in that season. Obviously, you can drink it during other seasons, but that's what it's designed to do, is support you during summer, autumn, winter, or spring. But because it has been like, what, 2-year process of me doing the seasonal collection, I tried in the beginning to think about what color I wanted for each, but originally summer was gonna be purple, and it's a hibiscus tea, it has to be pink. That's how my brain works, at least. So the colors just didn't look great together. They weren't, you know, like all cool toned, all warm toned. They just didn't flow in my mind. So I did redesign the labels and choose different colors, and I'm so happy with it, just the way the palette looks. The biggest difference is gonna be winter, which was a dark, I don't think I have any winter in stock, so I can't show you, but it was a very midnight blue, dark navy winter, like this almost periwinkle blue, and I just think it goes better with all the other colors. Autumn's a little bit more cool toned than I would have pictured autumn to be, but again, just goes really well with all of them. So I am going to put up a couple of mini sets for the release of summer as well. Hopefully people will be excited about that. But I love the way that they turned out. We've got the labels. So I'm going to make a big batch of summer and start putting some of this together. process of making the summer blend. It feels so good to have the seasonal collection complete. I've been working on that collection for so long, and to have all 4 seasons is so satisfying. I'm really feeling good about the teas that I offer. I feel like there's such a nice blend now of more earthy, more fruity, more citrusy tastes. I just feel really good about the teas that I'm offering, so it might be time for a new product next. Maybe some tinctures, maybe some glycerates. Let me know down below what you would like to see next. And if you enjoy seeing these behind the scenes business vlogs of my herbal products business, make sure that you hit the like button. I love filming them, but I want to make sure that they're things that you're actually interested in. I hope you're staying nice and hydrated this summer. If you want to get the summer blend, it's linked down below in the description. Until next time, I'm rooting for you every step of the way.